Basic function of biogas system.
So what I'm going to talk about is what is biogas. Biogas typically refers to a mixture of different gases produced by the breakdowns of organic matter in the absence of oxygen. Biogas is a biofuel produced from the anaerobic fermentation of carbohydrates in plants, materials, or waste. For example, it is like food peelings or manure, which is all caused by bacteria. And it is a renewable source of energy. For example, of biogas raw materials, there are agricultural waste, manure, municipal waste, plant material, sewage, green waste, or food waste. So in details, biomass raw materials contains stored energy from the sun. And the sun's energy is absorbed by plants in a process called photosynthesis. The energy is stored in the plants in the form of chemical energy. As the plants die, the energy is trapped inside the residue. And this trapped energy is released by burning directly or converting to liquid biofuels or biogas that can be burned as fuels.
Moreover, biogas also can be produced on a small scale in a biogas generator or digester, which can be made of simple materials. The theory behind the biogas digester is that the carbohydrate containing materials are fed in, and a range of bacteria anaerobically ferment the carbohydrate into biogas. The remaining solids settle to the base of the digester and can be run off to the use as fertilizer for the land. These types of biogas generator are most commonly used in the developing world to satisfy the needs of a small family. The methane can be collected via the pipe network and then be used as a fuel to generate electricity or heat buildings. The optimum temperature for biogas production is between 32 degrees Celsius and 35 degrees Celsius. Temperatures above and below this optimum can be result in less biogas being produced, which can be a problem in hotter and cooler countries. For example, in cooler countries like UK, the temperature below optimum slow the respiration rate of bacteria, resulting in slower biogas production. Thus, they need to vary the biogas generator or building the biogas generator with thick walls to insulate the generator and keep the inside warmer than the external temperature. However, in hotter countries like India, temperature above optimum begin to denature bacterial enzymes, resulting in slowing biogas production.
Biogas is mainly composed of methane with some carbon dioxide and other trace gases. However, the proportion of methane within the biogas can vary between 50% and 80%, depending on whether some oxygen is able to enter at the beginning or during the digesting process. If some oxygen is present, the bacteria will respire aerobically and will produce a gas with higher proportion of carbon dioxide and a lower proportion of methane.
Hey, what you doing, man? I call it rapping. Trill, what you doing, man? I call it dapping. She twerk to the beat, man. I call it clapping. Once I get...
When most people hear the terms renewable energy, they usually think of solar panels or wind turbines. But biomass actually accounts for most of our renewable energy consumption in the United States. Most of this is through wood burning and biofuels such as biodiesel and ethanol. Biogas energy is renewable because we have an abundant capacity of unwanted liquid waste materials. Collectively, biogas energy lessens our dependency on foreign fuel, strengthens our economy both locally and nationally, reduces harmful greenhouse emissions, and will hopefully contribute to the phasing out of fossil fuels altogether someday. The global potential of biogas is large enough to provide a substantial share of future gas demand. Estimations show that biogas could cover around 6% of the global primary energy supply, or 1/4 of the present consumption of natural gas.
Advantages and disadvantages of biogas.
The first advantage is that biogas is a renewable energy source. The raw materials used for biogas production are renewable. The trees, crops will continually grow, which means manure, food scraps, and crop residue will always be available. The second advantage of biogas is that it is very eco-friendly. Biogas production happens without oxygen because there is no form of combustion during biogas production. Therefore, there is zero emission of greenhouse gases to the atmosphere. However, carbon dioxide is produced, but the amount of carbon dioxide produced is far less compared to the amount of carbon dioxide produced during production of fossil fuels. In fact, the amount of carbon dioxide produced when using biogas is equal to the amount needed for plants to grow. Biogas is also a reliable energy source. The fact that it is produced from renewable sources makes it reliable. Other renewable sources such as solar and wind energy depend on weather patterns or date and time factors. However, biogas production continues regardless of weather. Therefore, we will produce energy using biogas 24/7. Next, biogas reduces the amount of waste going to landfills. We all know that overflowing landfills can cause environmental impacts such as foul smells and toxic liquids draining into underground water systems. Instead of disposing these unwanted organic materials, they can be used to produce biogas. Apart from that, biogas requires very low capital investment. The technology used to produce biogas is very cheap. Biogas plants can be developed right at home using locally sourced materials. The resultant gas can be used directly for cooking and generation of electricity. Biogas can be compressed to achieve the quality of natural gas and be utilized to power automobiles. The raw materials used for production of biogas, such as manure, crop residue, and food scraps, are absolutely free. This makes the cost of biogas production significantly low compared to other sources.
One of the main advantage of biogas is it creates more jobs, especially in poorer countries like India, where they hire people to collect waste to for the generator to create electricity. Next, I'll be talking about minimizes our reliance of fossil fuels. Basically, biogas will help countries like China and India, which they are one of the top consumers of the world, to reduce the fossil fuels, which could severely damage the environment. Furthermore, waste collection can also improve our environment since there's less waste lying around. So therefore, you can increase the overall hygiene of the area. Next, the process of biogas generation will leave behind organic manure. Later that can be used to fertilize crops. It will increase their output of food.
There are a lot of disadvantages to biogas too. One of them is the little technological advancements to it. Basically, the systems used in the production of biogas today are not really efficient. There are no new technologies yet to simplify the process and make it abundant and low cost. This means large-scale production to satisfy a large population is not yet possible. Although, the biogas plants available today are able to meet some energy needs. Most individuals and governments are not willing to heavily invest in this sector. This aspect has led to many people to put up biomass systems in their homes, which are short on capacity. Biogas also contains impurities. Basically, biogas still contains impurities even after refining and compression. When utilized as a fuel to power automobiles, it can corrode your engines and lead to extraordinary maintenance costs. The advantage is, it can't work in all locations. Biogas production is only feasible in certain locations where raw materials are in plentiful supply. Rural areas provide the best locations for building biogas plants. However, it is impractical to build biogas plants in large cities. The other disadvantage is it's not economically viable. Compared to the other biofuels, production of biogas is not attractive economically, especially on a large scale. It is difficult to beef up the efficiency of biogas plants, which explains why people and most governments are coy about investing in this realm.
Is biogas feasible in Malaysia? Why?
Biogas is feasible in Malaysia. The main reason is because it has lesser negative effects. Many companies are starting to do research on biogas, so it has a chance to become more economical in the future and also have better technological advancements. Let's take Sime Darby for example. The fact that biogas is produced from renewable sources makes it reliable. Other renewable energy like solar and wind depend on weather patterns or daytime factors to continually produce electricity. However, biogas production continues regardless of the weather. The biogas production process goes on uninterrupted throughout the whole year. Since it is a renewable energy, it can reduce pollution. It is one step towards being eco-friendly. Moreover, biogas is used not only for generating electricity, it also helps us to reduce the amount of waste going into landfills. Therefore, it's like killing two birds with a stone. Nowadays, Malaysian engineers has the knowledge for the maintenance of biogas power plant. Therefore, biogas is feasible in Malaysia.
Examples?
Sime Darby, they have biogas plant located in Malaysia used to capture methane emitted from the anaerobic wastewater treatment pond. They will actually harm the atmosphere. By 2020, there will be estimated 40% of total operational emission in Malaysia will be reduced. Actually, in Malaysia, Sime Darby is the first plant to employ open flash system in order to ensure no direct release of methane, which is 25 times more damaging than carbon dioxide. Weather flags. Weather flags peristaltic tube and hose pump from weather have gained worldwide prominence, particularly in dosing application, involving abrasive, highly corrosive, viscous, high density, and shear sensitive product within industries such as water, wastewater, chemical, biofuel, and more. Their range can suit almost any application. Waterflex peristaltic hose pumps are currently involved in the pumping of a vast array of products, from wastewater to raspberry sauce.
Steps to reduce side effects.
Even though biogas is considered eco-friendly, however, nothing good comes without a price. The gases released during the production of biogas, such as methane, causes harmful effect to the environment. It should be treated properly before being released into the atmosphere. The only way to treat the methane is to operate a gas flare. The next biggest problem of using biogas power station is that the process is not very attractive economically as compared to other biofuels on a large industrial scale, and it is very difficult to enhance the efficiency of biogas system. So we must use biogas power station as peaking generator for peak load. Moreover, we also can do more research on improving the quality of biogas power generator. During the production of biogas, hydrogen sulfide will be produced, which will cause gas leaks. So, brass gate valves and pipe used in biogas system must be of a lead-free type.
Next, we must remember to do a maintenance of biogas power station equipment. First, regularly check the whole system of leak and always maintain a positive pressure in the system. Next, gas line must be rainwater into condensation trap and provide the ventilation around all gas line. Moreover, the engine room floor must be at or above ground level to avoid the build-up of gas that heavier than air. But the engine room roof must be vented at its highest point to allow the gas that lighter than air to escape. This is also true for greenhouse that have biogas digester, engine or burner in them. The metal digester and gas storage tank must have wire to lead lining to the ground. Lastly, no smoking or open flame should be allowed near biogas digester and gas storage tank, especially when checking for gas leak.